Welcome to the Wake.Show. As everybody knows, a show needs an intro. This is that intro. I am Fisher, your host, featuring Chris McCarty. Thank you for being here today on the show. It's Friday. Friday. All right. Enough of that nonsense.
I think it's interesting that the last 3 days we've been wearing the same color shirts every single day.
Have we?
We're in the same brain, homie.
Have we? Well, welcome, Chris McCarty. How are you doing, man?
I'm well. How are you, brother?
Doing well. Also want to welcome our guest today, Matt Dom, owner of Masteries. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good. Thanks for being here, and thank you, Chris, last night for coming out to my gig, surprising me out of nowhere.
Support. You got to support your people,
yeah,
man.
If you got there a little earlier, we would, you've been able to play and take it down.
It was funny. I was sitting there like my competitive edge was like, God, I wish I got here earlier. But it's okay.
I wish you were.
It's good to just watch. It was good to watch.
Chris, I wish you were there the week before when we all witnessed. We were all a part of a traumatic experience together.
LeBron was there, witness.
Well,
I'm sorry,
dude, there was a lightning strike across the street that people were still talking about a week later.
Oh wow!
In matter of fact, it was really and I know you'll appreciate this because I didn't even do it on purpose, but I wore my Flash T-shirt last night, which has the big lightning bolt.
Yeah,
and people thought cool. I was doing it as a joke, doing it on purpose, and I was like, no.
I think it's awesome. I think single source insurance is awesome.
High five in the little guy.
My guy. We're on one today, man.
All right. So you're not gigging this weekend. I don't have any gigs this weekend.
Well, I'm gigging on Sunday. I'll be in Kelly's and Dunedin.
Oh, okay.
Sunday,
all right.
Just, the next couple of days off.
What are you doing tonight then?
Probably if the weather holds up, I'll just be with the babies, and we're thinking about taking them to Busch Gardens because Amber Ray is still in town from Hawaii, from Hawaii.
Yep.
And so she hasn't seen, just her first time in Florida actually. So out of the tragedy of having to evacuate the volcano, we figured we'd just bring her to Busch Gardens, let her see some stuff.
Yeah, Amber Ray was the guest we had on
Tuesday.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Yeah.
She was on earlier in the week, and she was an evacuee from Hawaii, from the Kilauea volcano, and she's from Puna.
Yeah.
The specific area is Puna. And she said even while she was on the show that day that at that moment her stuff could be being engulfed in lava, and sure enough, she got off the stream with us that day, checked in with friends. And was it happening during the show, or was it later on that day?
Later on that day, and then we went to had performed at the Hard Rock on Wednesday, and she'd never been in the Hard Rock, and got the news while we were at the Hard Rock that the lava would just be taken over, and so it's just really sad. And so there are a couple before and after pictures that people who are still there that are actually being threatened to be arrested if they don't evacuate. There's some before and after pictures, and it's just sad to watch her just looking. This is what this used to be, and now it's here, and this is what it used to look like, and now it's this. And so, I know it's difficult sometimes for us to empathize and try to put our feet in other people's shoes, but just imagine having your livelihood, your job, you're right, it's just gone. Your house just gone. I mean, of course, some people have seen it with Katrina and whatnot, and other, natural disasters. But this is just, man. I mean,
this is horrible. When you were talking about how she's looking back and seeing some of her friends possibly getting arrested because they're trying to get back and get their personal belongings, you have this an emotional attachment to that. Mm-hmm. But we go through this all the time, here in the state of Florida every year, or every time there's a major hurricane that comes through, people trying to get back to places that aren't safe, getting arrested, and you're like, come on, man, it's just a guy. But in the end, they're creating more danger for not only themselves but also the first responders, because if they go get trapped, then the first responders have to go get that person.
Yeah, it's true. It's very true. I mean, if you think about it, there are a lot of volcanoes that happen that they erupt, but not to this degree. I mean, she said she's been there for 18 years, and there's always some kind of activity, and they have little places you can go and actually view the volcano. But this is something that none of them have ever seen, and it's going to take years for them to fix everything, so it's rough.
Right here it says the county agency also said anyone in violation of the order will be liable for any costs associated with rescue operations. So if they try to go back, come to find out, so I did a little research on the town that she's from, that area, Puna,
right?
And I guess she's part of a little hippie commune or something, or is that how it started?
Well, I mean, I guess it's how it started.
Yeah, okay, yeah, it's known as a hippie community, I guess, when I was looking up some stuff on it,
right? That's where Ernest lived.
Okay.
And so, I have hippie in me as well. I mean, just peace, love, let everybody do their thing and dancing and just, organic style of life. And so, yeah, that's how I met everybody down there.
Steve said we should put together a Wake.Show viewer donation event and raise money for her to get her back on her feet.
Steve, thank you. We were actually just having this conversation about creating a GoFundMe for her because, again, as you understand, Steve and other people, we're all in this together. We all have a job to do that makes the whole world go round. And when someone has lost everything, we're just asking just to get a little bit back. So she's a single mom. I mean, that's a difficult task. So thank you, Steve, for that, and let's do that.
He says charity concert or something. So she did mention something about a GoFundMe, like Chris just said, and when she does that get up and running, we will post it for you guys so you can help her out.
Yeah, we're trying to get Charlie Belcher. I want to thank Charlie Belcher from Channel 8, who's trying to do his
Fox
thing.
13.
Fox 13. Excuse me. Sorry.
And I got you, man. I'm here for you.
I got to take myself out of that one. No, but I want to thank Charlie Belcher for Fox 13 for his help in trying to bring awareness and bring her onto the show, but she has to leave on Sunday. I think they were going to have her on Monday episode, but so she can't do it. But so we want to just thank Fox 13 for trying to help her and the people of Punao.
All right, and good morning to Kane Long. He says, "Good morning from Miami, guys. Good morning to you." And Steve says, "All right, let me know, and I'm in when it comes to helping out the people."
Love that, man, and blessings to you, Steve. Blessings to you.
And so Brett just joined us and says, I started listening to yesterday's show thinking it was today's and wondering why Chris was telling the exact same story word for word. Ha ha ha. Brett, welcome to Friday.
What were you doing last night, Brett?
Ooh, no kid. Okay. Also, speaking of which, let's bring Matt back in, sitting over in the corner there. So how do you like we're messing around with the facilities again since the last time you hear the couch is no longer in the room.
Yeah, no, I'm digging this. I like the couch. Don't get me wrong. It was a little too relaxed for me,
yeah.
And I always felt like I was slouching in it, kind of trying to find my position. And I don't think anybody looks good on
nope, you're right.
film in a couch.
You're right. That was one of the reasons why it's no longer in the room here. So how's the 5-hour energy feeling for you guys? Chris took his on the way here, so it should all.
Are you telling everybody my secrets, brother?
I want your secret, like everybody else's secret.
Just naturally energetic. No, I have two.
I just want to let everybody know that I'm just naturally like.
Right. I have two babies. I'm not, I have two of my babies, and I had to get them early and went to bed late last night. And so, hey, man, you got it, whatever you can get. And so, so here I am. I just want to make sure that everyone who's viewing is entertained. So yes, I took the.
Oh, don't!
I'm just kidding.
I almost feel like you're being apologetic. You don't need to apologize.
I'm not apologizing for it.
Yeah, you don't need to apologize.
No, I'm just letting you know that. Yeah, I'm trying to make it right.
Do bumps of coke in the parking lot before you came. You and a million other Americans.
Welcome to the Wake Show. Oh man.
I'll bring you some powdered donuts next time.
Really do it up. And you nailed it, Chris, by the way, with Brett. He says, yep, I'm hungover. Mm-hmm. Kimber says, good morning. And Brett also says, what's up, Matt? Matt, have you guys ever contemplated brewing any beers that have some energy in it?
Well, all beers got energy in it. Come on, right? True. Actually, we tried some of our beers with the electrolytes. It's like the Gatorade.
You know what I'm talking about. It became a thing, and it still kind of is, to mix your alcohol with your with caffeine and
whatnot.
Yeah,
no, we haven't done anything like that. We're still pretty kind of truest when it comes to the beer styles and things that we do. So, yeah, there's some gimmicky things out there and trying, and obviously. Everybody's trying a little bit of everything right now, we got all kinds of different pastry beers, and people started doing beer slushies.
Beer slushies, man.
Okay. I'm telling you. So Michael and Nick, when they were over in Copenhagen for the McKellar Beer Festival, even at a big, cool, geeky beer fest like that, people were still, digging beer slushies.
Speaking of Michael, there's a couple things that I want to run by Matt today that are in the corporate arena. Even though you're not a corporation or anything like that, but you are a business owner, you have to think of, you have to approach your business a certain way. Two things today. One is my shirt. Chris, you see my shirt today?
What's it say?
You've seen this one before?
No. Let's cuddle.
All right.
That's awesome.
So this shirt was a gift from my wife, and a friend of ours actually made it. It's Let's Cuddle. Okay, these are two cuttlefish. It's spelled Cuttle, like the cuttlefish. So my last name's Fisher. My wife's last name Fisher. It works, right? Cuttlefisher. It's adorable. Well, it's Casual Friday at the office. I'm going, all right, I'm going to go casual today. I'll put on this shirt. And I'm like, wait a second, is this no longer office appropriate? Because, as you know, if you walk into somebody that I don't know that well around the office and I'm wearing this suggestive shirt, will it be offensive and will somebody have to have a conversation? So is this one of those things that in this new era we're living in, is this something that you think would be acceptable in most corporate settings, or would they go, hey, listen, man, we know the shirt doesn't mean anything. We get it's with your wife, da-da-da, but the Let's Cuddle thing, it's suggestive and blah, blah, blah.
We were talking yesterday about people just finding reasons to be offended. And so the question is, do you think you're finding a reason to be offended? Maybe in the corporate world, maybe anyone could find any reason to be offended. So,
all right.
Are you offended? Or do you think it's
no? But I could see if I were back in a corporate setting, somebody call me and go, listen, man, I'm gonna have to have a conversation with you, but please don't take this the wrong way. You know what I mean?
Glad you're not in that. Like,
yes.
So I had this conversation with Johnny today, my son. So he's like, he's funny. He likes to mess with me sometimes, and he's like, because his mom's got a boyfriend, right? So he likes to be like, hey, and talk about the boyfriend. And I'm like, all right. He wants to see if he can get a rise out of me, but it's funny, and of course I know what he's doing, so I don't.
Question though, unless it's a radio show, what corporate office do you know that allows T-shirts anyway? So,
well, on a Casual Friday,
why'd you just interrupt me talking about my son? Hold on, a second. Let me get back to my son. I'm kidding. Oh my God, everyone's offended.
All right, listen, Mr. 5 Hour.
No, I just wanted to finish the story. I think it's the story about my son, because I just love my son so much. It's
the 5 hours definitely.
The 5 hours, it just threw me off. So what were you saying?
No, go back to son.
No, I forgot. It's not as important. Go ahead.
No, you had the story about the boyfriend and the.
No, what were you saying though?
All right.
Well, I was just saying on a whole, because I've worked in enough corporate settings. I've actually never been in one that we can actually wear T-shirts at on the weekend. Or not weekends, sorry, on Friday, Casual Friday.
All right, touche. So it's a collared shirt that says Let's Cuddle.
Actually, the most casual thing was like you could wear jeans instead of slacks. You know what I mean?
All right. So it's not the Let's Cuddle that wouldn't be accepted in the corporate workplace. It's just the the fact that I'm wearing a T-shirt that wouldn't be accepted.
Well, I think anyways. I mean, going back on Chris saying like people finding reasons to be offended. I mean, so in the brewery world, whether it's a corporate brewery, whatever. I mean, we all wear so many, and if you look at brewery shirts out there and all, there's so many different shirts that have, some perfect
suggestive right.
stuff, but some breweries, do some really, colorful things of, Hidden Springs has a beer and it's delicious. It's called Zero Fucks Given.
All right.
ZFG. But yeah, I mean, Seven Sun. I mean, they got T-shirts that say Seven fucking Sun on it, and so it's all behind the brand and really the. Not only so the brand, it depends on what market segment and what kind of business you're in. Do people overly take you serious and that type of thing? And a shirt like that, I mean, are you walking up to a girl and pointing at it and be like, yo, or you just passing them? Okay. I think one's suggestive of like you're trying to make a point about it, and the other is just like, again, if you point it out, it's a big deal. If some person sees you go, oh, hey, cool shirt, it's not offensive then because they acknowledged it.
And Steve goes, if cuttlefish becomes offensive, I'm leaving the U.S. out of here. Which, then leads me into my next play in the same category here. One of your brewmasters, Michael, came up with a great name for a beer, but you felt like it was a little too suggestive. Now, Chris, the name of the beer was Tom Selleck's Mustache. I think it's kind of funny, kind of cute, right? The beer is like if I'm looking down the board and I see Tom Selleck's mustache, I'm ordering it.
Well, man, is it kind of insinuating after you drink a beer, you have the beer mustache, so it's kind of like Tom Selleck's mustache? Could it be that too?
Well, I mean, there's a million different ways you can look at it, because Tom Selleck was a pick whoever one of your leading men actors are nowadays that women go, oh, he's dreamy. Back in the day, that was Tom Selleck. You know what I mean? So. I just feel like
you took it in your brain. You took it to the next level of like a mustache ride kind of thing. Like there could be some kind of
well, that was my concern.
Okay,
it's like and again, some some breweries, and I applaud them for being able to do it.
Be edgy.
Be able to just say, screw it, we're going to call things what we want to call it. But, you know, as Mastery's Brewing Company and as family inclusive as we are, it just didn't feel like it fit the brand to be like that. But, you know, so again, now we can talk about what we actually did name the beer. We called it I Lost My Hawaiian Shirt. Again, still a Tom Selleck reference because he does a lot of shows where he's wearing Hawaiian shirts.
Right.
And magically he ends up always losing it because he's somewhere without his shirt on, you know. And also, but it also gives us an opportunity to play on the tropics of being Hawaiian out on St. Pete Beach. So I felt like it had better flow because really, aside from I didn't want to have like the misunderstanding of what we were trying to suggest with the name. What did Tom Selleck's mustache have to do with the Mastery's brand as a brand?
Okay.
So,
all right. So what you're saying is then you start to overthink things.
Well, no, I think it's not about overthinking things. I think any action that you do as a business, you have to go back and reflect on how does that tie back into your business. You can't. Sometimes it's fun to do shit just to do stuff. You know, you do it, boom, whatever. But you know, when you're making a product that represents you as a brand, it'd be like, you know, pick anything. You know, it'd be like Disney World suddenly doing something that's just so not Disney. You know what I mean? It'd be like...
no, you're right. You're right. Your brand is your brand. You got to stay within your lane. All right. So is there ever an issue with your brewmasters or the people that come up with these products that go, you're like, they're all excited about a name or something. You're like, no, I'm sorry. We can't do that. I guess what it is I relate going back to radio, how many times I came up with names for bits, concerts and da-da-da. And mine were always too something.
We do one of those crazy little like round tables, and I call it round table. It's literally like us standing over by the fire pit having a couple beers, and we'll throw out like 50 of all the bad ideas. We just have our bad idea round table kind of thing. Like, so what are the bad names we can kind of call us? And we go through and come up, and we all just kind of look at each other like, no, like, and then we start tying in some things. Oh yeah, okay, that's kitschy, that's cool. We'll go with that. But yeah, so like on that one, for the entire time they were making that beer, even to the point where it was in the keg, the day before or 2 days before we're getting to put it on tap, they're still calling it that. I'm like, guys, no. And they're like, are you doing the Boss No now? I'm like, yeah. So, we got to find something different.
All right. Well, speaking of which, you did bring in a beer for us today. While you guys are drinking 5 Hour Energy, I'm going to have one of your beers there, or some of your beer. What beer did you bring in?
So today I brought in a magical crowler of Sip Sip Crush.
Sip Sip Crush. That sounds more like a weed strain. Sorry.
Sure. Whatever.
Doesn't it?
Sip Sip Crush.
All right. I guess that'd be more like Puff Puff Crush.
I think that'd be like
Puff Puff Kush.
There you go.
I get my medical marijuana card. All of a sudden, I'm an expert in strains. Speaking of which, Chris. Day one of my medical marijuana card, I lost my phone. I had to go at day two. Day two, I forgot my laptop going out to Mastery's last night.
Wait, but you found your phone day two, and you forgot.
Good point. So to back up, I lost my phone the first day of having medical. But day two, I found my phone on the second day of
clarity.
So right, positivity. You got to look at the upside. So this is Chris's card. I don't know if I want to show it too close, right? So people can't get numbers off of it or anything. Let me just.
Well, what are they going to?
Oh, it's got your address too.
Definitely don't do that.
All right. So there's Chris's med.
You're just stupid. Legal.
So I will say this: what I'm learning in the first 2 days. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Cheers. Happy Friday. Man.
Happy Friday, homie.
I don't know why I did not have one of those 5 Hour Energies, but for some reason I'm shaking today.
Maybe you needed one.
Have you had your medicine today?
I ended up having my medicine this morning.
Oh, okay.
So let's talk about that.
How do you feel? And what time did you do it? Just curious.
Around 7:30.
So how are you feeling now? You woke up feeling anxious.
I'm back to feeling anxious. Or yes, that feeling again. But I will say this: what I'm learning, because this is the vape stuff, right?
Right.
So I'm learning the dosages. They say that the dosage is like a 3-second pull or 3 puffs, like puff, puff, puff. That is way too much for what I need, or at least because again, my doctor said to experiment because some of these things affect you differently.
Right.
Holy crap, man! So this morning I'm like, okay, it's one of those days. I'll take my dosage and then start getting ready and da. No, next thing you know, I mean, for lack of a better term, I was stoned. You know, where you're just kind of like, you're just like, So I'm trying to get ready through that. Next, you're wondering how long you've been in the shower and how long you've been standing.
Did you eat prior to? You want to try that, like eat something first and then try it, because that might just be what it is, like
eating. Okay, so that may have it. Okay.
Just try things out.
And not only that, but I think like the night before too, the day before, or earlier in the day, yesterday, when I did it too, when I was leaving here, just had that feeling. It would, whatever. It's like, all right, let me try it. And it was too much. So so now here's what I'm gonna do, because you know how they said you could either do 1 3-second drag or 3 puffs. I'm gonna dial it down to 1 puff, because I have a feeling that's all I need. Because I don't want to be like this, Chris. I don't want to be like,
right. Of course,
I want to be able to go, okay, I've handled that part. That part of my crazy.
You just don't want the anxiety. That's all.
Right,
and that's exactly it. So I think you're right. Just
So the experiment continues when it comes to that kind of stuff.
It's all right. But how are you feeling right now? You said you're feeling a
little anxious. Okay.
Yep. And that was at 7:30. So it's almost been 5 hours. I mean, I guess every 4 hours is what they say, right?
All right, but you know what? I didn't bring it with me today,
and that's okay. You got some beer, and you're good. It's all right.
Yeah, because of the way that it hit me this morning, I went no. I'll push through the rest of the day, and if I need it once I get back home later, that's fine. But I don't like this feeling. So for those of you following along, please put this in the category, or continue to put this in the category of, okay, this is a guy who is experimenting with something legal to see if it can help his symptoms of whatever that I may be or have, or whatever that is. This is not somebody who's been a pot smoker all of his life and is just trying to find a legal way to be able to carry it with him everywhere he goes. So come day 2, man, I would say I'm anti. If I were to call it right now, I don't feel like this is helping me yet. But I also feel like I need to figure out my dosages and mixtures of things.
Well, because yesterday when we said, I asked you if you took your medicine, and you were really happy yesterday. Like, we were all talking about that. Man, Chris, you were just in a happy mood. So, you told me that, you didn't feel anxious at all. So, I mean,
So when I saw you yesterday afternoon?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep, that had been a few hours after I'd taken the dosage, so I was down to like a normal level. Plus was outside interacting with people, and so I was definitely feeling okay. I wasn't feeling euphoric. It wasn't like, hey man, I'm feeling great.
No, you just seemed normal to me.
Yeah,
it was just normal, dude. Like, you're just really happy, and I love seeing that. So, all right. Just trying to get into your head. I mean, again, you're trying to figure it out. There's did I eat? Did I not eat? Did I, just
and as
days
we
are different, man.
And as we
Every
continue with the show too, I hope that you guys are okay with this kind of stuff. I don't want you to think that I'm being cavalier with this, and that you're afraid that your kids are going to stumble on this, and that I'm not being responsible with this discussion. Okay,
it's medicine, and it's legal medicine.
So that's where we are with medicine. That's where we are with this right now. And also, while we're on the subject, speaking of what you can expect from the show, we got some cool things happening today and tomorrow. We should be joining a network, hopefully Monday. Joining a network on Monday. We just have to get the technical stuff nailed down today. I'm not leaving until I get it done today. And then we have a huge meeting tomorrow, separate from that, that who knows where that's going to lead. But as far as the future of the show and what you can expect when you tune in, censorship-wise, and because you heard an F-bomb earlier, here are the rules of the show. The show itself, between Chris and I, the host of the show, it's radio rules plus shit. Now, Chris doesn't take that. You don't cuss at all, right?
Nope.
All right. So technically,
I mean, I do, not on the air.
Right, not on the air. You don't even say.
I know my babies could be watching, so I just don't.
Will you even say like damn?
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he sticks to radio rules, but even will dial it down. More like if he was on the adult contemporary station, those radio rules. Me, I will take all liberties I can with the English language up to shit. But our rules for the guests that come in here are we don't censor them. So that allows for when comedians and artists, business owners come in, they feel more free about what can I say and not say? Say what you want. Don't worry about it. We'll handle our end here. And that way it frees up people to be more authentic, be more themselves. So that's what you can expect when you're those are the rules, the policy of the Wake.Show when it comes to censorship and whatnot. So. All right. One of the things that I love to do when I'm setting up.
Can I disclose that I wouldn't have dropped an F-bomb had I not been given a real name of a real product out there.
Right, you didn't drop it just to drop it. That's
no, I didn't say like, oh, F this person. I'm like, oh, they called their product.
And to me, that is perfect in context. As a matter of fact, if it were 100% up to me, I think there would be no censorship, period, because I do have the proclivity to drop the F-bomb.
Good word.
Well, every now and then there's just really isn't another word out there that really emphasizes an emotion sometimes, and you're just like, just got to say it.
I'm with you. I'm with you, buddy.
It's an intensifier.
It is.
Very true.
It's a great word, that F-bomb. It's almost as powerful. No. Steve says you should have seen Chris McCarty's face when that F-bomb dropped.
I immediately thought about, I'm like, uh-oh, there goes our sponsor. First thing I thought, I was like, oh, no.
What we think?
Or the ratings could have gone up. Everybody just tuned in like, oh, wait, what just happened there?
Keep calling me out, brother.
And speaking of our wonderful sponsors, thank you, Single Source Insurance, for being the sponsor of the first 15 minutes of the show. If you're sick and tired of dealing with the so-called big boys and their horrible customer service, please call Single Source Insurance. Give Zach and those guys a call, singlesourceins.com, to track them down online as well.
So if you guys don't mind, if I take a real quick, so what do you guys think of the beer? I know I told you it's called Sip Sip Crush, but I didn't even tell you what it was. I think I did off the air. But anyway, so this is our hoppy style wheat ale.
I don't normally like beers that are too hoppy. This does not seem too hoppy to me.
And that's it. So the hoppiness really comes a lot more on the nose, too. If anything, if you smell it, you can really get a lot of those florals off of it. IBU-wise, and again, that's the bittering parts on it. It's not super high on it. But again, most wheat ales are generally not a hoppy style beer. But because we like hops and the aromas and the cool flavors that they put off, we decided to do something a little bit fun for the summer.
Cheers.
I'm not a big beer dude. So
are you a vodka guy, a white liquor guy? If you're going to go down that path,
I'm a Grand Marnier man.
I'm an old you're fancy.
You're getting fancy in here.
It's not fancy. I'm just an old man. That's like old man drink.
When I drink, I rarely drink to just enjoy the beverage. I'm drinking because I'm trying to get
it's kind of, there's a reason why.
And Grand Marnier is one of those sipping kind of liquors that you're supposed to drag out an ounce for 15 minutes or something.
Not the way Chris drinks it, apparently.
I just get down.
Oh, okay.
I mean, because like you said, it's just, there's, it just gets me right where I want to be, and I don't need any more. I don't need a second one. I don't need a third one. I'm good. And then I'm all right. But, I'm supposed to not be drinking alcohol today, but,
You said you're not supposed to be?
Yeah, supposed to be in the sense of, I was going to take a month off. Like, every month I try to do something new and try to, okay, water this month and no more vaping. So this month was like, well, let me just get off the alcohol together because I'm really,
So starting today, June 1st?
Well, yes.
So we're already tempting you.
As he takes it back. Sorry about that. You're not going to drink it out. No, it's all good. It's all good.
But how funny is that? Your day one of this, and the universe puts what's the first thing the universe puts in front of you?
That's how that works.
Before noon?
That's how that works.
It does, man.
And I love it.
And I was supposed to be here on the 31st, so.
So we could actually say this is the 31st. We'll start tomorrow.
Hey, that's between you. That's between you and the universe, Chris.
Right. I mean, I think it's a good thing for everyone. I mean, just stretch yourself and try to do more and be more. And sometimes you got to give up things to get things. And so that was just my little, one of my close friends. His vice would be alcohol, and so he expressed to me how great it was that I just stop doing that. So I figured if I do that with him as an accountability partner, it would help. So
I'm with you, man. I have that personality where I need to stay focused, and I think it's probably better to focus on a gimmick for 30 days rather than going, this is what I'm going to do forever. Kind of switch it every 30 days.
Yeah.
And I'll be taught, Eric Stratman, you guys know we've had him on the show all the time, the TNL nutrition expert. He wants to talk to me about something, and I know it's going to be in this category too, to stay focused on something. So I can't wait. Now that I've got my medicine, and then we'll get the therapist, and we'll get the nutritionist and personal trainer. I got Chris, I got Lauren, I got Cords, I got Matt, and we'll get me into fighting shape, Chris. Let's cuddle, mother effers. Let's cuddle.
Roxy's like, Dad, what's going on? The pups are here, by the way. And she perked up like, hey. I feel like I can't wait for us to do the working out thing, man. I really can't wait to do that. It's gonna be fun.
I'm scared.
Why would you be scared?
Oh, well, this is part of my issues. Going to working out, and I'm not sure exactly where it goes into. I think it plays into whatever perfectionism issues that I have. But as I approach a gym door, ooh, man, it starts. Open that door, all eyes are. It's not true. This is only in my head.
Yeah, I get it.
But all eyes are on me, judging this and that. I start 5 minutes into it. I'm huffing and puffing. I'm like, this is it. I can't do this. I gotta leave.
No, I understand what you mean. I mean, I've ever since high school, just kind of always been frequently in gym, and sometimes when you get out of it and you go back in, you see everybody who stayed in, and they're all and you're like, man, don't look like that, and you can kind of get in your head. But it's so that's what I see. My suggestion is to go in there just wearing long sleeve stuff. Like I was always just sweaters, and just for like the first 2 months, just it's not about vanity. It's about like, just getting into the groove and just knowing how good it is for your head. So
but I'm also afraid you're going to hurt me.
No way, dude.
I just know, even though I'm a big dude, big dude. I got very tender tendons. Like, well, and I'm sitting there pointing. Next thing you know, I won't be able to move my arms.
No, I hear you. Yeah, no, the move is, and this is one of the things I learned at the little personal training thing I went to. It's when it's someone's the first time, you really want to. You don't want to kill them so they don't want to come back. You just do maybe like 2 sets of something just to get the, everything kind of moving and getting, acclimated to the work.
Get me active first.
Yeah.
Just get me up and moving forward first, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, just want to get the taste in and just, positive flow.
All right. So Jane says, good morning, friends. Did you guys coordinate to wear basic black today?
No, we just sharing a brain, it seems like. Voltron! I wanted my cuddle shirt, actually, and I'm a little offended that he didn't. Which Jane? Jane McKee?
Yeah, it's Jane.
Hey, Jane.
She says, buzz me later. Important about booking.
Done.
Got something for you.
Love it. Love it.
Mrs. Dom is on this morning. Says craft beer is totally different and Masteries is awesome. Oh, by the way, somebody brought it because I said, do you guys ever dip into like the caffeine, like juicing up your beers? But you did have a coffee beer, right? That had some caffeine in it.
Yeah, but I mean, you're talking about 1 pound per 31 gallons.
Oh,
so,
okay.
I mean, think about how diluted it is. Okay. And I mean, so yeah, if you tested it and found look for caffeine, yeah, there is, but it's so minute that I mean, it's all aroma. It's all aroma and flavor.
Chris, one of the things that I wish Matt would let me do once I set up there, if I set up there early, is record the conversations with everybody there, because I get them worked up, or I can get them worked up on political issues and social issues and whatnot. And so everybody's there is like talking and ready. I'm like, Matt, let me record this. And he's like, no politics at Masteries.
I remember you made a joke last night about that. They were like,
well, I mean, so give you perfect instances. So we've had things go on, and again, we've had elections. I can't actually even watch what's going on in the elections just to see like what's going on both sides at the brewery, because there's always an argument starting. There's always like,
you mean at the brewery itself?
At the brewery, like if I just want to turn on the news real quick, and it can be, it doesn't matter what show. It could be MSNBC, CNN, Fox, Bay News 9. It doesn't matter. If something political comes up, there's always somebody who's outspoken who says something, and then the other person at the other bar, gets irritated, and they say something back, and then next thing you know, so it's just, I would rather talk about beer, talk about sports, talk about, let's talk Kim Kardashian, and what's going on in E! News in Hollywood before politics, because...
Okay, so if I bring out the pop culture issues of the day, you're okay.
Bring out pop culture issues all day long. I love that. I honestly, before I canceled our basic cable at the house, like, yeah, E! News was mine and my wife's jam to sit down, see what's going on in fashion in Hollywood today, because it's a little bit of a relief of in your mind of like, stop focusing on the super serious stuff of the day, and yeah, let's just see what Hollywood's got going on. It's paid entertainment. That's what it's there for. You know what I mean?
I know.
I don't take pop news serious.
I guess what happens to me, or what's happened to me, there's a certain PTSD that's associated with the last 25 years of my career, and having to jam pop cultures down with that mentality down people's throat every single day, and not dealing with some of the real issues. I think that I've come to resent pop culture to a certain degree, or I have to fight a resentment of pop culture, because I feel like that's all America gets focused on, is the stuff that's not important. And meanwhile, there's some important stuff over there, when the reality is it's not. We're hyper focused on the things that aren't important.
Well, everybody's so much hypertension. We got PTSD, generally as the public goes, just from what is going on politically in the news every single day. It's almost to the point that if we don't hear something about it, it actually stresses us out even so to like, oh, well, who said this? What's going on here? What's going on with our government? You know, China, Russia, all this stuff that's going on. And I keep saying it. I think if people want to have the biggest, largest impact and actually feel beneficial and like they're going to make some changes, get involved with your local commissioners, get involved with your local chambers, because everything has to start at a local level. You want to make you want to make a difference. You want to make a change. Do exactly what I do. Go to your commission meetings. Get involved with your local chambers. Get involved with all your local community stuff, because these are the guys that are actually impacting your life every single day. Every single city has commission meetings multiple times a month that they are voting on your taxes. They're voting on the constructions that are going to be going on in your town, the projects. And yeah, that's going to have a much...
What did Kathleen say?
Kathleen, where's Kathleen? Where do you see Kathleen?
Oh.
Hold on. I'll come back to this here. That's okay. I'll come back
to my guitar. Hold on.
All right. I'll come back to this in just one second. Never mind. I forgot my train of thought. Nicholas, nice rising actor here saying hello and God bless you guys. You guys are amazing. All right, Nicholas. Keep rising, buddy. Keep rising. That is why you leave the TV on the Chive network. Okay, so you just said get involved with your local da-da-da-da. I agree, but I feel like we're all instead of getting involved at the local level, we've trained ourselves, and generation after generation trained ourselves instead to ignore that and just go home and get in front of the television for a couple hours before you have to get up the next day and go grind it out at work. You know what I mean? So I know there's a balance. It's not just focusing on one thing or the other.
You know, we can look back at every single generation. So the furthest one I can personally look back and goes like, oh, the baby boomers. You know, looking at that and what they trained the next generation to do. You know, and it's a huge cultural shift constantly every so many years of where to put primary focus. Let's just look at education. You know, like so when my parents were growing up and then they got married and they had kids, number one priority was your kids need to go to college, they need to be educated, they need to be able to do better than you did, and you need to provide them with everything so that they have a better chance of having a better outcome than you.
Right.
And now it's, well, you don't really need to go to college, but you need to do something. You should maybe go to a vocational school where, again, like, my dad's a mechanical contractor. I got a degree in mechanical engineering. But it was like, don't be just a contractor. Go get a college degree. Where nowadays, if you go to get a good vocational training and become a licensed contractor, there's plenty of things out there that I'm sure everybody has been seeing, how we have such a deficit in tradesmen right now. And that in the next couple of years, they're going to be the highest paying, individuals without an education, and even higher paid than people with bachelor's degrees coming out of college.
Yeah, you're seeing more and more of those guys making six figures now. And you have people like Mike Rowe, who's been a champion for the blue collar, those blue collar jobs for a very long time. And as we move into the next phase, if you don't get into computers, fixing computers, software, writing code, all the other cottage industries that'll come from that, then you better get to back to some of the classics and force your kid into plumbing, electrician, those kinds of things.
I personally think coding and all that at this point is going to be on a decline. I mean, every middle schooler, elementary schooler, is learning how to code. It's actually becoming as day-to-day average typical know-how as learning how to text and tweet and do social media on a standard.
That's crazy.
But how are you going to code? How are you going to build and develop all these computer-based platforms if somebody didn't lay the electrical, if somebody didn't build the building, if somebody didn't put the plumbing in that you have to have for the bathrooms and the sinks? And there's so much infrastructure that needs to be developed. And we're seeing on a day-to-day basis, of what contractors are expensive. Why are they expensive right now? Because as a commodity, there's only so many of them out there anymore who can do this work, and they're all overworked. So they have to charge you more because they're so spread so thin that they're like, yeah, they gotta make X amount of dollars because they gotta hire more people, and people
also they're having to make decisions to hire illegal workers, which is happening, and this is something that they tackle.
It's pretty. I again, coming from a small family business, it's pretty tough to hire illegal workers this day and age. I mean, between government's cracking down. I mean, and we see it. I mean, so I wouldn't put so much of an emphasis, because I mean, let's face it, illegal workers are actually cheaper pay. I mean,
right.
So actually, that'd be a cost savings to them. But at the same time, as far as liability, workman's comp,
getting caught by the government,
by the government,
so you're basically saying you have to be in it may not be as commonplace as we think, and you have to be in a pretty desperate situation to go down that path.
I don't think you have to be in a pretty desperate position to go down that path. There's a lot of people out there willing to work. But the thing is how many of them are able to do it at the level of the quality of the product that people need? And we're kind of fighting a two-sided scenario right now. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. But we're also living in that .com era where everybody wants to internet shop everything out and pay the lowest dollar for it. So now you're looking at that quality versus quantity argument of who's willing to actually pay for the quality work. And again, that's the side that really hurts the contractor conversation of trying to get good quality work, get a product, get something executed that's sustainable. That again, that's not going to be a fly-by-night operation. There's a whole lot of contractors. There's a whole lot of professionals out there in the industry, in any industry, that will charge you dirt cheap, get it done for you, but then does it actually work? But what happens is then again, the people who do a really good job, who provide you a good service, you got
to pay for it now.
You got to pay for it,
right.
But you've also hurt their industry because certain people start getting a bad name. Like, pick any market, it doesn't matter. They start, they're cheap, they don't do a good job. Like, well, no, you pay for what you get. If you want a good product, you got to be willing to pay good money. And I think that's kind of the platform that we go for on anything here in any market.
Kurt, a couple things I want to hit from Facebook here. Kurt just sent me the link for Mike Rowe Works Foundation, and that's profoundlydisconnected.com, profoundlydisconnected.com. $1 trillion in student loans, high record, are you profoundly disconnected? $1 trillion in student loans, high record unemployment, 3 million good jobs that no one seems to want. And that's what you're talking about there. And that's why these guys are able to make six figures. It's funny because these are the jobs that your father and your grandfather didn't want you to do. That's why they busted their humps, so you wouldn't have to do these jobs. For a living, you could go be a banker or something like that. But now it looks like we're entering a time too where the grandson's going to have to get back out there and be a plumber, be an electrician. But you should be able to make a good living, at least it looks like in the near future. Also, Marie says your show feels like the St. Pete version of Howard Stern. Very cool, huh? That is minus probably the severe adult topics. Oh, that's what it was. It's you dropping the F-bomb that made it feel like the Howard Stern show. All right. Well, speaking of which, before we get to your song, we were talking about these issues in America. And this was one of the last topics that the Roseanne Barr show or the Roseanne show tackled. And if you guys weren't watching, or is this too political? Can I not have just like
it's your show, dude. Do what you want.
A regular normal person conversation?
That's why it's like the Howard Stern show, because you get to talk about what you want to talk about. It's your show.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. Screw all of you. I'll talk about whatever I want. So this was one of the issues that they were tackling, and why I thought the Roseanne show was good for the discourse and moving the conversation forward in America. So she's hooked on pills because of her knees. She needs to get an operation. Dan is a contractor. The husband is a contractor. He wants to be able to provide this for his wife, but they're not in the best position. So in order for him to make the money to pay for his wife's knee, right? All honorable stuff, noble stuff. He's a husband. You're going to do whatever you can for your wife. Well, he's contemplating no longer doing work with the people he's always done work with, the people that he would hire, and going to illegals instead, so he can save that money to try. So it's those little conflicts and those issues that are plaguing America right now that you're not going to find on a lot of these television shows that are based in New York City. They're based on in California. All great, love the shows. This is not about that, but this is one of those shows that we're bringing in these issues that are affecting millions of Americans that Hollywood doesn't seem to have a grasp on. And so it's a shame that Roseanne's whatever it is about her has cost all that. But who knows? They might try to resurrect the show in a different way.
Her sleepy time medicine at 2 a.m?
I know, but and now what sucks about this is it's turned into something even more political. A Florida Republican leader posts support for Roseanne's tweet. He goes, and so they're doubling down on racism. He's going, look, Roseanne's right.
That's not cool.
But here's the thing. Like, I want to all of a sudden get angry, but I think this is the moment that I have to back it down and go, okay, no. We're dealing with such extreme ignorance that it's making me angry. But now we have to figure out how to combat this.
But you know what? I mean, the thing that I really would like to see getting out of is both sides, this combative high school clique. You know what I mean? You guys remember back in the day of high school, like everybody was making fun of somebody, whatever. They had these little cliques going on. It's like who can make the most fun of and put people down. And it's just it's combative. There's nothing positive coming out of any of this discussion. And it honestly, all sides are guilty of it. And it's really tiring of this is what we're worried and talking about versus the serious issues that are actually going on. We're worried about.
But this is still a serious issue because it's not just Roseanne. It's not just one person. Because now, look, you have a leader in one of our main parties, the Republican Party, backing her up on this. So this still is very much an issue. A Republican leader in Florida.
But that's what I'm saying. I think I'm not saying that I'm not saying this topic is not serious as far as the
social implications.
Social implementation. Yeah, I'm not saying that part's not serious. I'm saying, why are they even talking about it? There's certain conversations. They should just leave it alone, let the media do it, and move on to the next conversation. You know,
when you say they, you mean the politicians?
The politicians. Why comment on this? How is this beneficial to anybody and to our community, our society, to go back and re-talk about this? It happened. Let's just say it's a 50-50 split. 50-50 people are upset about 50-50. You know, the other 50% are like, oh, that's fine, whatever. Either way, it doesn't matter at this point. What's more important is let's cut it off. It happened. Let's move on to the topics that actually are affecting and the things that we need to address.
But this is one of those. See, and here's my point. Okay, so here, this is evidence. Okay, what you're arguing is what should and shouldn't be. This guy shouldn't have done this. But the reality is he did do this because this is still a very real issue in America where it's not, I don't think it's 50-50, but a significant portion of our populace is still trapped in some place.
Well, that's why I say this is just high school all over again conversations. I mean, again,
when it degrades into...
It's degrading, making fun of somebody, trying to build a superiority over a topic rather than being collaborative and getting along and using your energy for positive focus. There's a lot of... I always say this every day, and I'm sure McCartney feels the same way. If people took all the energy that they put into having negative conversations and to actually building something positive, it'd be an entirely different world. But that's just... And it doesn't matter... Again, what business in, if you're in school, there's always these battling conversations that are going on, and I think it's a deeper issue.
All right, there are deeper issues, and if you're talking about these things just degrading into shouting back and forth, you're right, the high school aspect. But these are things that still need to be talked about because this is what this guy did. This is a Lake County, Florida. A Republican committeeman, Ralph Smith, posted an image of Valerie Jarrett and a character from Planet of the Apes. And then he says, and the issue with Roseanne is, he's basically saying, I don't understand, Roseanne's right. But what he doesn't realize he's doing in that moment is just showing us how racially ignorant he is. But in his mind, he's going, I don't understand. I see what she sees. And that's not even taking in the history associated with those kinds of remarks. So, all right, enough of that. I thought this the Roseanne. Who knew the Roseanne conversation was going to last all week long? Chris, how are you feeling, buddy?
I'm well.
What kind of song? What kind of energy does this show need at this point?
I think it needs just me not even saying anything. So I'm just gonna play.
Just play. All right. right. Now, is that a song, or is that something you just picked out, just made up as you went along?
No, I wrote that a while back.
Does it have lyrics to it?
No.
Huh. So how does that happen, or how do you make those decisions in your world, Chris, when it comes to this is something that just needs to be a melody and something that needs to have lyrics to it?
I think every song is just its own entity, you know. So when I was just playing that, it just kind of felt right. So, you know, and sometimes in life you don't really need to say anything, and sometimes you do. And so, you know, most of the songs I have lyrics, and but that was just one that just kind of, I mean, didn't it feel like it didn't need anything? Right?
I agree 100%.
Right.
That's exactly. You're almost. In all due respect, I'd almost feel like if you did start singing, you would have ruined it at some point.
So that's how it works.
So here's where I was. Here's where I was while you were playing that. I was on my back porch. It was raining a little bit, but not a lot. And it was just me, and I was just chilling, and I was relaxed.
Good.
That's where I was. That's where I was in my head.
Good.
All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for a great show, a great week of shows. We're really excited about what's happening with the show over the next couple of days. The likes and shares have been absolutely huge. I meant to ask you a question at the beginning of the show. It's probably too late now. Are you getting notifications from the Wake.Show when we go live? Or are you just knowing to come here every day about 11:30-ish? Or are you getting a little notification that says, hey, the Wake.Show is live now? Also, you can subscribe to YouTube if you prefer to watch things on YouTube Live, and you will get that notice every single day. I think Facebook's still tinkering with their
Since
stuff.
I follow you guys, I get the announcement as soon as you guys live that you guys just went live, and then that's kind of my reminder.
And that's happened all this week, because I know people were getting it from my personal page. We were going live last week. That was happening this week too, from the Wake.Show.
You know what? Actually, I think it dropped off.
This week?
I think I'm just in a habit now of doing it, but you remember that for a while there, you were seeing me like every single day watching.
Yes.
That's because as soon as I got the notifications, like, oh yeah, and I was there watching, but so I don't know what has happened differently in the last couple of weeks, but I don't get the notification as often as I used to.
Okay. Sharon says I do get the notifications. It might be a difference too between liking the page and following the page. So following the page, I think does this a little bit better. So, all right. Well, thank you so much, Chris. Once again, where are you going to be on Sunday and what time?
Kelly's Dunedin, 8 o'clock.
All right. And for those of you going out to the Best Damn Race 5K tomorrow morning, I will be your announcer.
Don't forget Magic and Masteries tonight.
That's right. Tonight is Magic and Masteries from 8 to 10 at Masteries, and then tomorrow.
So that's all. So it's not like a Magic Mike night at Masteries. That's Jeff Williams is coming in doing some very cool up close magic. The guy's awesome. He's hilarious as well. It puns for days.
Okay, so yeah, it's not a bunch of guys who are going to pretend to do magic and then start taking off their clothes. It's not that at all. And then tomorrow morning, I will see you guys at Best Damn Race 5K, the cleanup race that we do every single year. I'll be encouraging you as you come across the finish line. Thank you once again. Have a great weekend. Be safe, and we will see you guys on Monday morning. Take care.